Hello, this is your hello Archfiends of Chaos. This is your King of the Night Versatel X Turk, and I know I sound really sick, so I'm gonna get to the straight of the point. It's another Final Fantasy Death Battle. Two of the two of the evil scientists you love to hate, you know, from their perspective universes, we got the Niflheim Magitech creator, designer, and scientist, also Prompto's dad, Versatel, versus Shinra's best scientist yet, since Professor Gas, and also Sephiroth's father, who also worked closely with both Lucretia and Vincent back in the old days. Hojo, Professor Hojo. So we're gonna be analyzing the skills, armor, weapon, and everything. So I don't know very much about Versatel because, well, Final Fantasy 15 made some cuts to the game, which I'm gonna go get a cough drop, which makes everything difficult to actually, place with power. But if I had to go buy the trailers and stuff like that, and go buy the guidebook, since Versatel created all Magitech stuff, he'd probably use Magitech armor. Or it could be the armor he's wearing right now in the game. He probably used Magitech stuff. And Magitech stuff, if you didn't know, is they use metal and fuse it with demons. So, Verstali's weapon would be an armor that's demon fused. So he would have the power of the demons, because that's what Magitech's made out of. Which I'm not going to discount that. For Hojo, Professor Hojo's not physically strong by physical feats, but he's injected so much Genova cells in him, he can make transformations just like Sephiroth. If you remember in Final Fantasy 7 when he turned into those different forms, and that one disgusting form where it's all mutated, is because his body's not is strong enough to take the cells. Even Hojo stated in Dirge of Cerberus that the cells would take over his mind, because he's not built like Sephiroth is. But yes, Hojo uses the power of Genova cells to make him stronger. And we're not going to count Vice the Acumen, because he only took over the mind of Vice the Acumen. He didn't really take over the whole body. It was still Vice the Acumen who fought Vincent Valentine and Dirge of Cerberus. So that don't count. We're cutting that out, so it's only Hojo as it is. There's not gonna be no bullshit powers. I'm gonna be fair with this. Alright, what would happen is that Hojo and Versatel would face off. Let's just say this is the Dissidia universes. And of course the Niflheim Empire wants more power. So what if the Niflheim Empire discovered Genova cells, then when excavated, of course, Professor Hojo is power hungry, just like the Niflheim Empire, even does things behind Shinra's back. So of course it would end up in a fight, because they both want the same thing. Now what would happen is Hojo would be using his gun, because he wouldn't take Versatel seriously. Even with his armor, he wouldn't take Versatel seriously. He tried to shoot, but nothing would happen. Then, realizing that he can't beat him with just cheap tactics, with shooting people in the head, Hojo would transform into one of his forms, the very first form. And then that would be probably a challenge to Versatel. Versatel would increase the power of his Magitech armor. And since he created the Magitech armor, I'm pretty sure he would make one that just gradually goes to power. Even probably so strong that would have his boss, Idolus, be being careful about what he says to Versatel, because Versatel created the Magitech armor, and with that, yes, he created Idolus' pistol, out of Magitech, but nonetheless, Versatel would increase the power of Magitech to go against Hojo in that form. Of course, Hojo can heal himself, so if he gets damaged, he can instantly heal himself, just like he did in Final Fantasy 7. So with that, he would heal himself, and then probably use stronger magic like he did in Final Fantasy 7. Probably put poison, curse, and death. But since the Magitech armor, is made out of demons, that stuff won't work on the Magitech armor. Maybe the poison will, but the other stuff wouldn't. So because of that, Versatel would laugh and shake it off like it was nothing. He'd laugh at Hojo for his failed try. At this point, yes, Versatel would beat Hojo in that form. And then Hojo's still alive and critical condition, he'll transform to his final form, just like he did in the game of Final Fantasy 7, and create those two bloom monsters to give him health and anything. Those blue monsters would give him a barrier to protect him, as well as use the reflect spell. So any kind of damage that Hojo was getting dealt with would reflect back to Versatel. Thus, could be destroying his armor. Could end up destroying his armor. But Versatel wouldn't be done, being the Niflheim scientist. And Niflheim got so many has so many lives. Now, I know this is not canon because we don't know what Versatel could do until the DLC. But, at this point, Versatel would get so frustrated and angry that Hojo beat him in Magitech form. He would take a demon form similar to Idolus. It'd probably be different color, different shape. But he'd take a demon form, just like... Because, not just only the Magitech armor is made out of demons, but the Niflheim higher-ups. If you saw Ravis's form, Idolus' form, and Ferois, Versatel would turn into a demon form, and then there'd be a huge clash. Now, I don't know who exactly would win, but, just based on feats, Hojo's final form that can do a bunch of spells, like Reflect, Barrier, all this other stuff, this healing stuff. Hojo could constantly heal himself. Eventually, even if Versatel is in demon form, he would get tired because Hojo would constantly heal himself. So I think Professor Hojo would win this one, and I'm not just saying this as a Final Fantasy 7 bias, because Hojo has the extreme healing ability when he's in his last form in Final Fantasy 7. Hojo would beat Versatel, because Versatel would still get tired. Even in demon form, they could still get tired. As when you, in Final Fantasy 15, strike down Ferois enough down to his health. Ferois, when you get break on him, he falls to the ground. So even in demon form, you still get tired because you're still organic life form. Hojo is too, but Hojo has all these healing abilities with those two other monsters that are summoned with that form. Yes, Hojo couldn't control the power of Genova cells, but Versatel would get tired. And since Versatel don't train like Idolus and Ravis, says he's more of a scientist type, pretty much Versatel's physical prowess, both in human form and demon form, wouldn't work, because he'd be too tired because he doesn't really fight in combat. He just makes Magitech stuff. And if he was gonna fight, he'd mostly depend on Magitech. But you know, because the demon form takes the abilities of your human form. You know, that's why Ferralis was strong, because Ferralis, you know, was Idolus. That's why Ferralis was a hard boss to beat. You know, because Idolus and Ravus, they train. Same thing with Arden. Versali's the only odd one out. I mean, I wouldn't say he's the weakest. I think the weakest of the Niflheim higher-ups would be Loki, because you defeat him in the first round, and he only uses the Magitech, you know, Magitech war machine stuff. Versali, even if he had a demon form, it wouldn't be as strong. It wouldn't, because of his physical prowess. It transfers to the transformation. His physical prowess would, you know, he'd get tired and be out of breath, while Hojo could continue to heal and heal. The only way Versali could actually win this bout is if Versali somehow takes out those other support monsters that Hojo puts right beside him. You know, but even then, Hojo wouldn't really tire out, because, you know, Genova cells make any human exponentially powerful. Really powerful. I mean, think about Sephiroth, Genesis, Angel, and later on Zack, and later on Cloud. I mean, they could do things that are non-human. So even if Versali took on demon form, because he's not a fighter type, his physical prowess wouldn't, he'd get tired out, and Hojo would be able to finish him with a final blow. And that's out to be as fair as I possibly could. So please do not hate. This is how the result is. Deal with the results. This is what happened. What would happen. And may the crystal be with you.
They didn't know I'm about to blow. And every time they told me stop it, well I did not.